Hey everybody! So I know I said in my welcome to my channel video that I was going to do like what I eat in a day. I'm actually going to go ahead and do like a whole series on that where I'll have episodes, and some of them will have part 1 and part 2 just because it gets really long to put it all in one video. So this will be episode 1. Part 1 because I'm doing breakfast and lunch in this one, and then part 2 will be dinner. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Here I have some baby yellow potatoes. I love yellow potatoes because they're nice and light potato. They're not very starchy and are really good for breakfast. I had already rinsed them really good before I started cutting them, but I'm gonna go ahead and rinse them again after I cut them. So I'm gonna go ahead and put them in the pan, and then I'm gonna start prepping some mushrooms. I actually did not like mushrooms at all before I changed the way I ate. I insisted on never buying them or using them in anything I cooked. And when I decided to start changing the way I ate, I really was like, okay, listen, I can't be picky about everything. I need to be more open to foods, and I actually found that I do like them in certain foods. They are very meaty. I actually like doing portobello mushroom fajitas. So if you guys want to see me make those and kind of share how I cook that, let me know, and I will definitely do a video on that for you. So I'm done cutting those. I'm going to go ahead and add them to the pan and try to get every little bit that I can in there. And I'm going to turn on the stove. I like to let my potatoes kind of sit with nothing in there for a little while to kind of get a nice brown on the bottom. Since I don't use oil, I like to get my food as hot as possible without burning it before I go ahead and like throw some water in there, and that gives it a really nice steam, and it almost replaces the oil, because sometimes if you do it right, it'll get nice and crunchy with no oil at all. So right here I'm just gonna go ahead and finish cutting up the rest of my bell pepper and put it away. I don't want to leave it in the bag. Sometimes I do leave it in the bag after I cut a piece off, but I'm just gonna go ahead and put it back in there, and then make sure I cut all that part out, kind of prep it for later so that way it'll be easier for me to just use it. I like to use bell peppers in my wraps, which is gonna be in my lunch part, so you'll see how I use raw bell peppers in my food. So right here I'm gonna go ahead and cut some green onions. I just cut the end off. Actually, sometimes when the outside layer of the green onions are a little bit flat, I guess, or don't look so good, I'll just peel that outside part off, and then I'll just rinse it real good. And sometimes they're a little bit dirty on the inside, so I like to make sure I pull the outer layer of the green onion off. And then I cut up the rest of it all the way to the end. And here I'm gonna go ahead and season the potatoes, and as you saw, I use complete seasoning. And then when I do my salt, I like to put it in my hand first, just because the steam, like, it makes it hard for you to see how much salt you're putting in there since it's white. So I put it in my hand first, and then I go ahead and sprinkle it into the pan. And then of course I put pepper, and then I did add some garlic. And if you see at the bottom of the pan, that's barely anything in there, and it's getting it nice and toasty down there. I don't really know how to explain it better than that. You kind of just have to try it yourself. So if you all want to see a video on how I get my potatoes to be crunchy without oil, let me know in the comment section, and I'll definitely do a separate video. I'll be honest, they're not going to get like crunchy like potatoes, of course. I mean, no, like, you know, chips, of course. They will just not be like soggy or anything like that. I'll be honest, I put a little too much water This time, I was kind of rushing because we were about to be late to take the girls to school, so I just was trying to hurry up and finish, but I did put too much water, so I'm gonna save those green onions until the end because I don't like to put them in too soon, just because I like them to still be fresh and not be completely cooked down into the potatoes. So I'm gonna go ahead and start getting the stuff ready for my smoothie. But before that, I'm gonna go ahead and taste my potatoes and make sure that they're good. I can usually tell by eye if they're done. But of course, you always want to check because sometimes the inside of the potato is not completely done, but the outside is. And I'm pretty sure they're done. I think I just turned it off actually. Just throw that last little bit of water in there, which probably kept doing that and ended up putting too much water. And then that's when I just go ahead and put my green onions, and I'll end up just putting the top back on and letting them sit while they're off. So now that my potatoes are done, I'm going to go ahead and start with my frozen pineapple chunks from my smoothie. I like to use as much frozen fruit as I can because if you use too much fresh fruit, it's going to be like frothy. And I learned that early on when I was making smoothies that you always want to have good frozen fruits in there. And as you can see, the strawberries, I just throw those in whole, but I do wash them before I put them in the freezer. I don't just stick the whole thing in the freezer. And the blueberries as well. Now the only thing is with the blackberries and the raspberries, they're not in here of course, but I don't soak them like I do with like strawberries and stuff like that. If you guys want to know how I wash my vegetables, let me know that too, and I'll show you how I wash my vegetables and fruits. So yeah, I have strawberries, blueberries, oh yeah, spinach, and I did put some agave in there just because, and the soy milk. When I don't use bananas, which I love to put bananas in my smoothies because they are pretty sweet themselves. When they're nice and ripe, they are really sweet, and I don't feel the need to add any sweetener to it. But since I didn't put any bananas, I went ahead and added some agave here. And this is where I realized that my blender was not working. My husband had just used it like the day before or a few days before, and it was working perfectly fine. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I heard it like shut off or something. And I didn't think to not use it because it did stop working when he was using it. But I'm just gonna go ahead and end up using the big blender, and that way I can just hurry up and finish my smoothie. I really don't like to use the big blender anymore when I make my smoothies because I always end up making too much. So I just recommend, if you don't want to make too much, go ahead and grab you a small cup that you want to kind of measure your fruit or whatever you want to put in your smoothie, and then go ahead and put it to your big blender. And I did have to add more soy milk to it because it was too thick, which is why you see me keep shaking the blender. So I'm just gonna put some more soy milk in there. I think that was all I needed. It was just a little bit more soy milk, and then that's it. So since my husband is not 100% vegan like I am, he is gonna go ahead and make him some eggs to go with his potatoes. And here we are. I believe this is the end of the smoothie and breakfast. So here I have my potatoes, and then I have my smoothie. I like to use my nice thermal. It keeps it nice and cold, so yeah, don't have to worry about it going warm on me. And then I have some bananas and oranges for my snack later. Here I forgot to turn the camera on when I started eating my banana, but we were sitting waiting for some orders to come in, and we were playing a game and eating our snacks. So this is where I was eating one of my bananas. Now it's lunchtime. So I like to use these spinach and herb wraps because they're nice and thin. And then I like to use baby spring mix. It has like arugula as well as spinach and all that other good stuff in there. So that's what I like to put inside of my wrap. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add my green bell peppers that I had earlier from when I made my potatoes, and some green onions. I love to add red onions as well. I love red onions. Those are my favorite onions when I'm eating them raw. And then I just rip up some cilantro and I'll put that in there too. So I'm just noticing it is 12:12 on the clock. Make a wish, woohoo! But anyway, so I have my cilantro lime dressing here. I'm still trying to perfect that recipe, but it is so good. Like, I love it, and it replaces any ranch or anything like that. Oh my gosh, I love the cilantro lime. But I will do a separate video on that once I get that recipe down how I want it. I am a horrible wrapper, so I just kind of fold it and start eating it. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hey. Okay, so I just made that wrap, but I decided to make another one. Yum. Exactly the same. Can you see in there? I don't think you can see in there. But anyway, so I made another one. So I had 2 wraps. And then I'm gonna have some of my favoriteest chips ever. And they're only my favorite because they're vegan. And I can't even remember what my favorite chips were before this. I don't know. Oh well. But yeah, that's lunch. Bye. Oh, and water. Yeah. Bottle of water.